The English premium gap is ending. Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about the release gap that's closing completely from OP17. Quick bit of context before we get into it. The set we're talking about, OP17, is the 4th anniversary booster pack for One Piece card game. Now, this is worth knowing because anniversary sets always carry more weight. For most of this game's history, going back from OP1 through OP14, the gap between the Japanese release and its English counterpart is set at 3 to 6 months. Bandai said it themselves in their own announcement. Until now, there have been up to 3 months of differences in the play environment between Japan and regions such as Europe and the US. Then, in 2026 this year, that gap started shrinking, set by set, almost like Bandai was easing everyone into it. OP15, Adventure on the Island of the Gods, released in Japan Feb 28 earlier this year. The English version followed on April 3rd. That was a 5-week gap, already a massive cut from the old 3 to 6 month standard from prior sets. Then OP16, The Time of Battle, tightened it even further. So why is Bandai actually doing this? And I think it's pretty obvious. It's a business decision and a pretty calculated one. The clearest explanation I've seen points to market size. Bandai's own internal data reportedly shows the Western TCG market is roughly 3 times larger than Japan's. If you're the publisher, and your biggest market has historically been getting your product months after your smaller home market, that's genuinely leaving money on the table, especially because all other businesses and importers outside of Japan buy Japanese sets early and resell it into English-speaking markets at a premium. Bandai's announcement said the goal is so players around the world will be able to enjoy new card releases, share deck building tips, and participate in tournaments at the same time. From a competitive standpoint, that's actually a legitimate improvement. Right now, if you're an English format player, you're walking into a tournament where the meta game was effectively solved by Japanese players months earlier. Closing that gap means more level competitive field globally, which also happens to make the World Championship structure make a lot more sense. So, bigger addressable market and a more legitimate global competitive scene. Those are real reasons, and none of them require Bandai to be doing this purely out of generosity. So this begs the money question. How does this change pricing in both markets? To understand the shift, we need to understand what's been driving the English premium in the first place, because it's not one single factor. It's at least 2 separate things stacked on top of each other. The first driver is the information gap. When Japan gets a set months before English, Japanese collectors and players generate weeks or months of pool data, real tournament results, real sales price data before a single English pack is open. By the time English buyers get their hands on product, they're not guessing anymore. They already know exactly which cards matter because Japan told them. That certainty drives the English price up further on cards that matter because there's no risk left in the decision. The second driver is more structural and has nothing to do with timing. It's print volume and market concentration. Japan has historically printed more product domestically, with shorter, more direct supply chain. English-speaking demand, on the other hand, gets concentrated into a single language version across multiple countries. The US, UK, Australia, Canada, they're all buying the same English print run. I have people ask me, will the English premium actually disappear? I don't think so, and I want to give you my reasons why. What I think happens is probably going to be a slight compression on price, not total elimination. The part of the premium driven by information certainty and hype, buying a card you already know is good because Japan proved it first. That part should shrink decently because the certainty no longer exists for anyone. Everyone's, in a way, buying blindly together now. But the part of the premium driven by supply chain and market concentration sticks around. If anything, you could argue it might persist almost entirely intact in the short term because day one demand from multiple large English-speaking countries doesn't actually reduce competition for that print run. It might even concentrate it into a single, sharper demand spike instead of a weakened one. And for sealed products specifically, where the supply side argument matters most, I'd actually expect the smallest change of all. because nothing about simultaneous release increases how many boxes get printed for each market. Which brings me to my next point. It does not change how much product gets printed for the English market. Those are two completely different things, and the supply part is where I think a lot of the optimism around this falls apart. If you're an Australian collector or player right now, you already know the reality. One Piece product is genuinely difficult to get at MSRP on release day unless you're a regular at a local game store that allocates stock to players, and even then, it's often capped. Online retailers sell out within minutes of putting it up on their website. Pre-ordering months in advance has become the standard for anyone wanting to get product without paying inflated secondary market prices. And here's my reasoning why that probably doesn't change much with OP17. Under the timing gap system, English distributors actually had one advantage. They could watch exactly what happened in Japan, see which cards the market reacted, and adjust their own allocation and marketing accordingly before the English launch even happened. Especially when sets were hot, many stores would hold off on putting it early on their website and then only listing the new set with inflated prices once they knew it was in high demand. They didn't want to lose out on all the potential profits. Now, if we remove that gap entirely, English retailers will have to place their product listings on the same day as everyone else in the world, this time without the inflated prices. Without Japanese pool data, some more casual buyers might genuinely hold off on a pre-order until they see what the set actually looks like on release day, rather than panic pre-ordering based on Japanese hype months out. But the collectors, players, and resellers who are specifically chasing the chase cards will still move on day one regardless, because waiting means missing the print run entirely if it sells out. So far, Bandai has hardly reprinted many sets. Even when they did, it was very small allocations given to Play stores, with none of them being online. So pulling this all together, first, I think I treat OP17 as the test case, not the conclusion. One simultaneous release doesn't prove that this new model permanently compressed prices. It's going to be the first data point. Also, it's an anniversary set, so there's quite a lot of hype around it. OP18, however, whenever that lands, should confirm whether this is a genuine structural shift in how the One Piece card game gets priced from here on out. And for sealed products specifically, if you're an Australian collector deciding whether to pre-order a case or wait, I think the case is still the same. You either order it early or miss out. So in conclusion, for collectors, I think this is genuinely good news for transparency. Even if it doesn't make the set cheaper or easier to buy, we're no longer buying based on someone else's market deciding the value weeks in advance. Everyone's discovering the set together, which actually makes more of an honest market. It feels more of a closer community. For players, this actually might be better, because if there's no data on any market on release, other people who are only reselling might hold off on buying those sets, which gives players more chance to access product, to build decks, and for their collection. So far, Bandai hasn't announced that they're willing to reprint sets more, so we'll just have to see if anything changes from that end. So let's see. I'll be watching closely after OP17's actual launch and whether the premium really shrank, or whether the market just found a new way to create the same gap. I might be doing a follow-up once OP17 actually drops in August, comparing real day one Japanese and English prices side by side, so we can see whether any of this held up. And I'm curious what you think. Do you reckon the English premium properly shrinks this time? Or does the market just find a new way to create the same gap somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. And for those who are new here, this is Chill of the Chase, where we help passionate card collectors make smarter decisions in this hype-driven hobby. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.